Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Freeda's World. I hope you guys are having an amazing week so far. So, for those of you who are loyal Freeda's World fans, you guys know that the show is typically in audio podcast form, available on Apple, Stitcher, Google, Spotify, pretty much anywhere where you can access podcasts. However, we're trying to do things a little differently as the world is demanding more video content. We want to be able to be up there with the competitors, right? And so we are now trying to offer, and I say trying because it's not always going to be the thing, but we are trying to offer more video content. So a lot of our interviews have been recorded via video in the past. And I think that we have posted maybe one or two videos on YouTube, but it looks like the push is really real now. And so, even with the solo episodes that I do, I am trying to, create this visual aspect for you guys. Hence, why today this is my first time actually recording a video component to the podcast. So for those of you who are tuning in via, the traditional podcast platforms, the audio platforms, if you're interested in actually seeing what I look like in person and accessing some of the other interviews, and I guess really watching the exchange with me and the guests, follow us on our YouTube channel, which is not Freeda's World. It is Black Ivy Media. Black Ivy Media, for those of you who don't know, is our parent company. It is the powerhouse. It is the umbrella in which Freeda's World, according to our piece, Sickish, and some of our other podcasts, traditional podcast platforms live under. This is the same company that is directing and producing these documentaries that I've been talking about here and there on the show. So the documentary on Black women in small businesses, and the current documentary that we are working on, highlighting depression and anxiety in professional Black women. All of these are Black Ivy Media productions. However, Freeda's World, is kind of like we still have our own tribe, our own family. But instead of having a YouTube channel for every single one of these ventures, we have the main YouTube channel, Black Ivy Media, and then we will have a separate playlist for our Freeda's World content. So if you are not doing so already, please follow us on Instagram at Freeda's World, FREEDAS_world, and follow us at Black Ivy Media. And also follow us on YouTube at the Black Ivy Media page, because that is where you are going to access these videos, right? So I am not a video person. I say this all the time, but I have to get with the times. I definitely have to get with the times because you guys want to watch videos. For as many of you who are still true to the traditional podcasting, you guys want to still see the videos. And I get it, because sometimes I want to see the videos too. So my commitment to you all is that even with the solo episodes, I will do my best to ensure that there is a video component so that you guys can see my lovely face as I am, sharing whatever I'm sharing on any given particular day. I will say this, we have a lot of great content coming out for Freeda's World. We've had some reviews the last few days that I know you guys are really going to appreciate, because again, I don't want to say we made the shift to total wellness. We were definitely highlighting wellness and things like that, from the beginning of time when we started Freeda's World. But I think that we are really focusing on total wellness. So you're going to hear a lot of the same themes repeated throughout the episodes, because I think that there's something with repetition. And when we are talking about our wellness, our mental well-being, physical well-being, financial well-being, spiritual well-being, all the well-beings, we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep reinforcing it, because for many of us, this does not come second nature. Self-care does not come second nature. Self-love does not come second nature. And so we have to, I guess, as a collective, as a Freeda fam, as a tribe, really continue to reiterate these important points until it becomes second nature. For me, a lot of these things that we are talking about on this platform were not second nature, and I'm still struggling with them. And that's what I love about this platform, because it's not a platform where I've arrived and I'm telling you guys, this is how you do it, guys. This is how I've made it out. I am still, trying to dig my way out of situations just like the rest of you. So that's why I really truly believe in this tribe that we're building, in this tribe that we have built, because we've built this tribe since 2017. And although we've taken many breaks, breaks are important. Self-care is important. Self-love is important. We've taken many breaks, but we are here. And I think that this year, especially, is going to be an amazing year for Freeda's World, because we are hitting the ground running. Like I said, some of these guests that we have lined up for you guys, I'm just like, I mean, we've had several authors so far, and all of them have these amazing books. So I feel like my library is definitely increasing in this year of 2023. So I'm really hoping that the conversations that we have on this platform, that you guys really, lean into them, because they are life changing. Every time I speak to a new guest, I feel like there's an aspect of my life that's been changed. So, and if it's happening for me, I know it's happening for you guys. So today we're going to talk about kindness to oneself, being kind to oneself. And the reason that I wanted to kind of talk about that today is because I've had several conversations around well-being in the last week and a half, in preparation for the show, obviously making sure that we have our content, our ducks in a row. But it's just interesting that, how these themes have been reoccurring for me in the last week and a half. Being kind to oneself. It sounds silly when you hear about it, like, oh, be kind to yourself. Like, what does that mean? Like where, how are you not kind to yourself? And let me tell you, sitting back and marinating on this concept of being kind to oneself, I realize how unkind I am to myself, in ways that I would never even think, right? I would never even think that by not doing X, I'm actually hurting myself. And so I want to talk about that today, because I think as professional Black women, we are very unkind to ourselves in ways that we're just not aware. We are not aware of the psychological damage that we do to ourselves, how we hurt ourselves on a daily basis. And so I'm hoping that going through this conversation, and talking about some of these points, it can resonate with you guys, and we can together do better for ourselves, and together we can be kinder to ourselves. So the first way that I feel like we are unkind to ourselves is by not engaging in self-care. And so self-care is something that, we're going to be talking about a lot on this show. We've been talking about self-care. We're not new to this. We are true to this, but since the focus is total wellness, we're going to be talking a lot more about self-care. And there's so many layers to self-care. I feel like society has definitely kind of commercialized this term, to the point where for some people it doesn't even have a real effect, right? When you say self-care, it's almost kind of like, yeah, whatever, because we're hearing about it so much, but not in the way that we really need to hear about self-care. I feel like it's been popularized, and it's like the sexy thing to say, but I feel like we're not really understanding what it truly means. And so, I don't want to get into the psychology and all that stuff, today, because I am not a licensed therapist, mental health counselor. However, I like to say that I'm an amateur. I'm an amateur psychiatrist, psychologist, because I've done a lot of reading. I feel like, when it comes to wellness, I'm all up in the mix. And I have my personal life experiences. And I will say that your girl has recently been minted as a certified life coach. So I'm actually a certified life coach now. So I think I have, I have some credentials behind my name that can allow me to speak on certain things. But the psychology piece, we will leave that to the experts, those who are truly credentialed for psychology. But either way, self-care, right? We're unkind to ourselves when we do not engage in self-care practices. And self-care can mean a variety of things. There's no one size fits all when it comes to self-care. For me, it could be getting my nails done. For you, it could be going to the spa. For another, it could just be quiet time in their house. All devices are off. they're just in a quiet room where they may be meditating or just laying down, like just not even thinking, not just there, just laying down, not doing anything, not meditating, not, just laying there. Some people just like to lay there, and that is their form of self-care, right? When we don't engage in self-care, when we don't take that time for us to decompress, right? After a long day or after a stressful event, we are being unkind to ourselves. We truly are. We're not attending to our needs. We are not giving ourselves a mental break, a physical break, a spiritual break. We are being unkind to ourselves when we do not take that time for us to decompress. And again, there's no one way to truly engage in self-care, but what I will say is that you do have to do something. There needs to be a mechanism for you to recharge. We cannot keep going. We are not Energizer bunnies. As much as society loves to dub us super women, strong Black women, even the superheroes need to go back and crawl into a hole to recharge. Even the strongest of the strong must take time to regroup and to eat and to rest so that they have the strength to continue carrying on the fight. This idea that being strong and being a superwoman has no off button, I'm not really sure where or why that is a thing, but we need to be able to recharge, and we recharge by engaging in acts of self-care. So when we are not engaging in acts of self-care, guys, we are being unkind to ourselves. We are being mean to ourselves. We are not being true to ourselves. The other thing I will say is when I'm thinking about being unkind to ourselves, I'm thinking about perfectionism and how many of us, especially as Black women, again, Black professional women, we a lot of us are type A. I like to think of myself as type A minus, B plus. I think I'm not as eccentric. I'm not as out there, but a lot of you all, and sometimes me, I enter into the A plus territory at times. A lot of us are like, we are perfectionists and we cannot let go of that perfectionism. And I will tell you this, I think there's a level of perfectionism that creates this essence of being unkind to ourselves. And I'll tell you why. A lot of us, we do feel the pressure to be at 150. We feel the pressure to be great at all times. And a lot of that is really society's doing, right? Society makes us believe that we need to operate at 150% in order to be optimal, in order to be productive, in order to be useful, and in order to be even considered, right? So where our counterparts, can just show up at 75% and still, be deemed amazing, be deemed competent, we as Black women must show up not even at 100%, but at 150%. We have to be above and beyond just so that we could be equal. And even then, we're still never equal. So you see like how crazy that is? But because of those pressures, we take perfectionism, I think, to another level. And so perfectionism can be harmful because it's the state of constant criticism of yourself, right? You're not allowing room for any kinds of mistakes. So you're super critical of yourself. You're super hard on yourself. You don't give yourself a break. You don't give yourself any kind of grace whatsoever. This is harmful. It's harmful to operate like that all the time. It's harmful to operate in a space where you are not allowing yourself grace every single day. Nobody is perfect, especially not every single day. Nobody's perfect, period. But trying to be perfect and think that we can be perfect every single day is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. But for whatever reason in our mind, because of society, because of our community, because of whatever it is, we feel the need to be perfect every single day. And this is harming us. It is causing us to be unkind to ourselves, because when you think about perfectionism, you're striving to rise to this level that's really unattainable, right? And let's say, you have a marker that you're trying to rise to, and you don't make it. You miss the mark for whatever reason, right? you start you start engaging in negative self-talk. I don't know if you noticed that, but you do. You start talking down on yourself. You start talking ill of yourself. Oh, that's so stupid. I can't believe I wasn't able to do that. You start blaming yourself for things that are probably out of your control, because again, perfection is a social construct, I guess, in my opinion. You start to engage in negative self-talk. You start to be like, "Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I missed this." You are hard on yourself. And it's like, for me, I'm thinking it's like psychological warfare on yourself. Like, you are being so negative to yourself. You're being so unkind. You are blaming yourself for things that are out of your control, because you're trying to reach this level of perfection that doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. There may be people out there who might say it exists, but it doesn't exist. And so I think that by striving to be this perfect being, this perfect creature on a daily basis, mind you, um, we're causing a lot of damage to ourselves, to our psyche. We're causing physical issues, right? Because we're going to be talking about chronic illness on this platform, and how stress can lead to chronic illness. And so when we think about perfectionism, you are stressed trying to be perfect. There's a ripple effect here. You want to be perfect, but it's causing you a lot of stress to be perfect. The stress is going to cause you chronic illness. Chronic illness is going to slow you down. It's going to cripple you. It's going to debilitate you. And so it makes it even harder to even achieve, baseline, let alone perfection, and the cycle continues. And a lot of us are in that cycle. And I could tell you, for me personally, the reason I take these conversations so seriously is because I've allowed my career to debilitate me, to cripple me. Like, I am living with chronic illness. I mean, I pray to God that one day I am better, and that I could put all this behind. And I hope that maybe this is just something that I had to go through to strengthen me, and to maybe shine light and awareness on what chronic illness is and how it affects Black women, how it affects people in general. I don't know why I am on this journey, to be honest, but I can tell you, I stand here before you telling you that chronic illness is real, stress is real, and and it's not worth it. Trying to be perfect is not worth it. Perfect for whom, right? We always see these memes, and we always hear this rhetoric all the time that we're trying to be perfect for a system that doesn't even consider us. The system doesn't even care about us. Our employers, we go out on a sick leave right now because we had a nervous breakdown. Our position is being filled and being handled by somebody. We are not as indispensable as we think we are. We put in all this work, and we think that we are the best, and we strive to this level of perfection. However, the moment that we slip, we will be replaced, or we will be reprimanded. We were so perfect yesterday, but the moment we make one mistake, it's as if we did nothing right. So this idea of perfectionism, we need to let that go. I am all about the soft life right now. When am I picking up my paycheck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to go above and beyond to the point where it affects me physically and mentally. I'm not saying that we do not strive to be the best that we can be, but not at the expense of your mental health, not at the expense of you, right? So perfectionism, let it go, because perfectionism equals being unkind to yourself. The other thing I will say is, when we don't set clear boundaries, we are being unkind to ourselves. Setting boundaries is something that I find most of us struggle with. I still struggle with it, although I can tell you that I'm doing a lot better than I was before. I will watch that phone ring and not pick it up if I am not in the mental space, if I am not clear, if I am not prepared to engage. Um, Timing. I am not available to handle this meeting today. I am at enough. That is something that I would say, this at enough thing is something that I've recently kind of put into practice. And I think I talked about it on the last episode. I think I did. Tracy Ellis Ross had this video clip that went viral. We posted it on our Freeda's World page. So if you want to actually see the clip, go to Freeda's World, FREEDAS_world at Instagram, and you'll see the clip. But Tracy Ellis Ross was talking about how, she is setting clear boundaries and she is saying no. Saying no when she is at enough, not when she has been depleted. Many of us are saying no when it's not even on E anymore. Like the car is about to break down. Maybe it has already broken down, shut down. Like the needle's not even on E, it's past E. That's when we say no. We don't say no when we know we're at capacity. Because I would say that most of us know when we're at enough. We know when we've had enough because we get the signs. Our body starts signaling, girl, don't you dare take that call. Don't you dare, entertain that meeting. Our bodies tell us when we're at enough. We know when we're at enough. But because, we've been conditioned to work like dogs, we work past enough. We work to depletion. And so learning how to set boundaries is something that is so key when we're talking about being kind to yourself. Setting boundaries allows you to consider yourself in this equation called life, right? In this thing called life, you are considering yourself. Oftentimes we do not consider ourselves. We are considering everybody else, which is why we have issues setting boundaries, because we allow everybody and everything to have access to us. We are not considering ourselves. We're just like, you know what, we'll deal with it. I mean, people used to say this thing, and I used to say it too. We'll quit when we're dead. We'll sleep when we're dead. No. Set the boundaries. Be okay telling people no. No, I'm not available. No is one of those words that it's quickly becoming my favorite word right now, to the point where I think I might need to be careful because I might just say no too often. I might love saying no so much that it might actually become a problem on the other end. And I think it's because I have not said no for the majority of my life. I have not said no. I am the woman who would always say yes. I would figure it out. I would move things around to the point where I'm getting headaches. I'm so depleted, and I'm still saying yes. Even at depletion, I'm still saying yes. So saying no, setting boundaries, that is being kind to yourself. That is being true to yourself because you are considering yourself. You are not leaving yourself out of this equation. You are not leaving yourself out of the picture. You are considering yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people like to, and I find these are the manipulators. They like to twist things around and make it seem like, oh, you're being selfish if you set these boundaries. You're not being selfish. You're not being selfish. And maybe some would actually argue, yeah, you are selfish and it's okay to be selfish. But selfish has such a negative connotation. I don't even want to go there. But you're not being selfish if you choose yourself, if you consider yourself. And sometimes we're not even choosing ourselves over other people. We're just saying, we want a seat at the table too for ourselves. We want to give our mental health a little break. We want to give our physical health, a chance here. So I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm not now. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later. Some of us don't even say no, but at least setting those boundaries. It might not be a hard no, but it might not be a not right now. It might not be a hard no. It could be, you know what? Let's revisit this, right? And those are okay. It's okay to set those boundaries, because we as professional Black women, oftentimes, we face these unique challenges when it comes to setting boundaries. We feel like we're obligated. We feel like we must prove ourselves. And so, in doing all of that, it's hard to set the boundaries because we have to keep going. We can't say no. We have to, keep taking things on our plate because we got to show that we can handle it all, that we are super women, that we are strong, that we are capable of taking all the hits and, catching everything that's thrown at us. But we can't live like that anymore. We can't. We can't live like that anymore. This society is only getting harder. Things are getting harder. And I read a report maybe last week that talked about how chronic illness is steadily rising amongst young people. So it's not like, I'm 60, I'm 70, we expect our elders to get ailments. It is what it is. It's the cost of getting older, right? But you're not expecting 20-year-olds to have chronic illness. You're not expecting teenagers to be dealing with chronic illness. Chronic illness is running rampant throughout American society. I don't remember what the exact numbers were, the percentage of Americans who are dealing with chronic illness, but the number is high. And the reason I think we don't acknowledge it so much, or we don't understand it so much, is because chronic illness doesn't have a face. You can look at me right now. You say, yes, as cute as I'm looking right now, you would never be able to tell the pain that I endure sometimes on a daily basis. You would never see it, right? And so a lot of times we don't give credence to it because we're like, well, we don't understand it. We don't know what it looks like. But chronic illness is on the rise. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the way that we are operating. We are operating like we are robots. We are working 24/7. We're not eating properly. There's so many things that we're not doing, right? So we need to learn to set these boundaries, because setting these boundaries will literally save your life. It'll save your mental health. It'll save your physical health because it's all connected. So set the boundaries, guys. Learn to say no. Learn to say no. The other ways that we are unkind to ourselves is that we are not taking care of ourselves nutritionally. We are not exercising. And again, this is all like so related, because a lot of us are not eating properly and not exercising because we feel like we don't have the time. We're working so much. We have all these things on our plate that we're juggling. We're juggling work. We're juggling, home life. We're juggling community. We're juggling projects. So we don't have time to go to the gym 30 minutes a day to work out, because where am I going to find 30 minutes? I'm tired. I'm not setting boundaries. So my schedule is packed. It's overpacked even. I'm double booking. So we're being unkind to ourselves when we do not take time to exercise, to get ourselves in optimal health. How do we expect to tackle on the challenges that we know we face as Black people, as Black women every day? How are we supposed to come out strong and be of sound mind when we are not taking care of our bodies? When we are eating junk. One of my cousins put it so plain the other day. We were recording her interview for the documentary on Black women and anxiety and depression, and she's like, we eat trash. How do we expect to be out here, ready to take on the world when we are fueling ourselves with garbage? We're not fueling ourselves with the things that are going to keep us working in an optimal way. And she gave this I get tongue tied sometimes, guys. Now you get to see it in action live. But she was saying how, she used the analogy of cars. And so back in the day, I think they have like a number system now, but I don't know. For me, I know premium, I know super, I know regular when it comes to gas. And she's saying, if you're a Mercedes Benz, there is a certain kind of gas that you must put in this vehicle for it to run at its optimal level. Premium. You put premium in a Mercedes Benz. You cannot put super. You cannot put regular. If you do, it could create some wear and tear in your vehicle, or your car might not run at all. So it's the same as our bodies. We are trying to run as optimal as possible. We want to be our best selves, alert, snappy, ready to take on the world. If we keep putting in regular gas, regular food, so McDonald's, listen, no shade to any of these places. There are people out here, I don't know, but I don't eat McDonald's unless I'm on a car road trip and there's nothing else to eat. But I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat these fast food restaurants. Some might say I have the luxury, whatever, but I don't eat these foods because they are not good for you. These processed foods are not good for you. So I cannot expect to be running on 110 if I'm eating McDonald's all the time. If I'm eating cookies, if I'm eating ice cream all the time, if I'm eating junk food all the time, I cannot say that I'm ready to tackle on the world. I cannot be my best self at work. It's just not going to happen. It's not. So it's like, if we want to operate at our best selves, then we need to put premium gas in our bodies. We need to put premium foods in our bodies. Being kind to ourselves means eating healthy. Now, many of us are not big fans of the leafy greens, right? I mean, it is what it is, but we have to figure out, how are we going to get these things in our system? Maybe it's a smoothie. You might not want to eat the kale, but maybe you'll be able to drink the kale mixed with some banana and some berries and a little agave nectar to package it up a little bit, right? Maybe that's what we have to do. Taking our supplements, making sure that we have enough fiber in our systems. And I'm telling you all of this because this is something I struggle with. Although I do not eat the McDonald's, I do not eat the McDonald's. I do not eat the Burger King. But it doesn't mean that there are not other things that I engage in that are not necessarily the best. And it doesn't mean that just because I might eat healthier, that I'm eating enough, right? I might not be eating enough healthy greens. I might not be taking enough foods that will give me the vitamins that I need. Some of us are not even taking supplements. We're out here in these streets running, around with no vitamin C, no vitamin B complex, no vitamin D in our systems. And vitamin D is something that's very, very critical. I mean, now that we're moving into the spring, though there's more sunlight, but vitamin D, especially for Black women, a lot of us are always deficient. And we wonder why our moods are always up and down. Sometimes it's because, let me not say it's because I am not a medical doctor, but I can say from personal experience and from experience of friends and family, a lot of time, these little mood swings that we're going through, this little winter blues, little depression, can be a result of a lack of vitamin D. There is a direct correlation. So not eating properly, not exercising, not drinking water. I can say that I'm a big culprit of the not drinking enough water team. I'm trying to do better with my life, guys. Hold me accountable. Not drinking enough water, being unkind to yourselves. Being unkind to yourselves. Embracing vulnerability. This is something that's so important. And I think that when we lack vulnerability, when we shy away from embracing vulnerability, we are being unkind to ourselves. It's not about, this is a woman thing. Women are supposed to be vulnerable. Like, that's not what it is. Being vulnerable is something that I think that as humans, we need to embrace more of, right? We need to definitely embrace more of. And I think that a lot of times we view vulnerability as weakness. And because many of us are in power positions, we're in spaces where people have a certain perception of us, being vulnerable is it's something that we shy away from because we do not want the world to see our weakness. They're calling us super women. They're calling us strong Black women. How can we be strong and be weak at the same damn time? A lot of us are just like, nah, we are not about to be vulnerable, letting people know that I cry too, or I'm tired too, I have anxiety too, I'm depressed too. We're not going to share those secrets. We're not going to spill that tea, Because if I am seen as a power woman, I am seen as a mover and shaker in society, in my workspace, at home, in the community. If I'm seen as this pillar, right? Pillars aren't weak. That's what they want us to believe. That pillars aren't weak. Role models aren't weak. Power women are not weak. We have to remain stoic. We have to remain on the on button at all times. We cannot afford to be off. We cannot afford to slip. We cannot afford to show any moment of weakness, any sign of weakness, because the moment that we show that weakness, maybe we're perpetrating a fraud. Maybe we are fraud, right? Maybe we're not as strong as people thought we were. Maybe we are not as great as people thought we were. Maybe we are not what others have expected when they realize that, oh, weakness, what's that? So, for many of us, it's difficult to embrace that vulnerability because we do not want to be weak. But I am telling you that embracing that vulnerability, it can help Black women, especially Black women, connect with others and build stronger relationships, right? It's important for us as Black women to stick together, and we're going to have some episodes that where we talk about the importance of sisterhood, the importance of the tribe. We try to build a tribe here at Freeda's World because it is so important. It is so important to have the support of other Black women who are in the struggle, who are in the game every single day. It's important for us to share our stories, which is why we're working on these documentaries where women, everyday Black women, are being vulnerable about what they go through on a daily basis with anxiety, with depression, with relationships, with love, with food insecurity. I mean, there's so many things to connect on. And of course, we always want to talk about the positive things. We want to connect on the amazing things, but we have to connect on the not so amazing things as well. We have to connect on the pressure points. We need to know that we are not the only ones out there that is dealing with everyday issues. Like the things that we are dealing with, these are everyday issues for us. These are not necessarily unique circumstances when it comes to the community, at least. Black women are dealing with the same stuff every day. We're dealing with microaggressions. We're dealing with imposter syndrome. We're dealing with, the struggle of self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, anxiety, depression. Like we are dealing with these issues on a day-to-day basis, day to day, maybe hour by hour for some of us. How beautiful would it be to let that guard down and connect with your fellow sister and fellowship and really talk about what is going on with you today and feeling supported, right? Like how beautiful would that be? But we can't get to that point of like this true connection, true sisterhood until we let the guards down and we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and allow ourselves to embrace that vulnerability, not see it as such a negative thing, not see it as such a debilitating thing, like not see it as weakness, but instead see it as a strength, right? Because there's so much power in vulnerability. And I think if we understood that, we would be walking around trying to be vulnerable. Every day. Every day. I want to be vulnerable today, guys. Who wants to be vulnerable with me? You know what I mean? It's so important. It's so important. And I think by not embracing that vulnerability, we are not being kind to ourselves because we are depriving ourselves of true connection. We're depriving ourselves of true sisterhood. We're depriving ourselves of solutions. Like we are when you really think about it, right? So, I mean, the list can go on and on and on. And I've already been talking for 40 minutes. And like I said, we have some amazing, amazing guests that are going to be on this platform. Episodes will be releasing within the next couple of weeks that go a little more in depth with some of the things we talked about today. And so I definitely want to leave room for those conversations as well too. But I felt compelled. I feel like, as somebody who's a creative as well as a technical, I like to say, I'm an attorney. I think I have a technical brain, analytical brain, but I also have a very creative brain. I wake up and I'm like, ooh, idea for the show, topic of today. Or I might have had a topic already like lined up, and it's like, nope, I'm going to talk about this today. And maybe that comes with time, since I've been doing this for 5 years now. I think Freeda's World is 5 years old. I think it's about five going on 6 years old. It's been some time. So sometimes I can just freestyle it, and I think that there's a beauty sometimes in the freestyle. There's a beauty sometimes in not trying to be perfect, right? Not taking out all those or I trip over words sometimes. Sometimes I think it's because I'm just tired. I have a lot of brain fog. That's something else. That's a symptom, I think, of just being overworked and overstressed is brain fog. A lot of us are dealing with brain fog. I was literally in a meeting with my boss the other day, and we were talking about somebody who, like, I know, like this person, I talk to her almost every day. She is a colleague of mine that I work closely with. And my boss was like, yeah, talk to so and so. And I'm like, who's so and so? Like, dead serious. I said, who's so and so? Like, so the brain fog is real, guys. And so sometimes you guys, if you've been around the Freeda's World block long enough, you know that my brain fog is real. It is real. I'm not even trying to hide it anymore. So you're just going to get this brain fog. You're going to get this conversation. You're going to just have to figure out the Rita isms. My friends in my chat groups, I always say that I think Siri has it out for me. Autocorrect has it out for me. Like the words and the phrases that get typed from my phone, I'm even shocked and baffled as to how bad my texting is. But my friends, because they know me, they've been around the block, they're like, these are Rita isms. Rita's phone again. So as you guys learn more about me and you guys engage with me, you will come to appreciate the Rita isms. You will come to appreciate the brain fogs and the tripped up words. You will learn to appreciate all of that. So either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Freeda's World. Again, if you are not following us on Instagram, please do so. Freeda's World, FREEDAS_world. Follow us at Black Ivy Media, the powerhouse of all of this media that we are producing at Black Ivy Media. And also follow us on YouTube. See, another trip there. Follow us on YouTube at Black Ivy Media, where you will be able to specifically choose the Freeda's World playlist, and you'll be able to watch some of our interviews. You'll be able to watch my solo episodes, as I am now committing to actually recording it. And you know what, guys? I actually felt good about today. I felt good about this video. I steer clear of the video stuff as much as possible, but I actually enjoyed this. So maybe I'm breaking new ground. Either way, guys, thank you so much. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week, amazing weekend. And next week, we have an amazing, amazing, amazing guest by the name of Dr. Shayna. And we are going to talk about self-love. We are going to talk about mental wellness, mental health, mental illness, all of that mental health stuff. We're going to talk about it, but there's going to be a special focus on self-love. And I don't want to get too much into it because I definitely want you guys to come back next week and tune into that episode. But I just wanted to put that plug in, give you guys a little avant-goût, a little before taste, I think is the direct translation of what is in store for next week with Dr. Shayna. She is a mental health professional. And so we are going to talk about self-love, guys. She wrote a book on it. She has a workbook on it. And I am so excited about that conversation. I'm so excited to bring it to you. So make sure you keep it locked. If you are not following us on the podcast platforms, please download, subscribe, like, comments. We need it all. We need it all. So please, show your love for us by going to, whether it's your Spotify, whether it's your what is it, your Apple, your Google, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just make sure you subscribe so that you will be the first to know when our episodes drop. So with that being said, again, everyone, I will talk to you guys next week.